The Stonewall, the Republican Stonewall in Congress that has supported and defended Donald Trump at every turn throughout his presidency, that Stonewall finally came tumbling down today on the matter of the whistleblower. A whistleblower has blown that Stonewall down. In just 7 days, one whistleblower has triggered a formal impeachment inquiry. Just 1 week ago, Michael Atkinson, the Inspector General of the intelligence community, secretly notified the House and Senate Intelligence Committees that the Trump administration was violating the law by refusing to turn over a whistleblower complaint. Tonight, Nancy Pelosi became the fourth Speaker of the House in American history to preside over an impeachment inquiry of the President of the United States.
The president has admitted to asking the president of Ukraine to take actions which would benefit him politically. The actions of the Trump presidency revealed the dishonorable fact of the president's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections. Therefore, today, I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry. I'm directing our 6 committees to proceed with their investigations under that umbrella of impeachment inquiry.
History is moving fast tonight on all fronts of this story, in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, and in the Trump administration, with the acting director of national intelligence, Joseph Maguire, fighting for his life legally tonight. The Speaker of the House today repeatedly accused Joseph Maguire of committing a crime without mentioning him by name. She twice said, "This is a violation of law." Those were her words. She was referring to Joseph Maguire's refusal to deliver the whistleblower's complaint directly to Congress, as the law requires him to do.
The law is unequivocal. The DNI staff, it says the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, shall provide Congress the full whistleblower complaint. This Thursday, the acting DNI will appear before the House Intelligence Committee. At that time, he must turn over the whistleblower's full complaint to the committee. He will have to choose whether to break the law or honor his responsibility to the Constitution.
And tonight, in response, the acting director of national intelligence, Joseph Maguire, released a written statement saying, "In light of recent reporting on the whistleblower complaint, I want to make clear that I have upheld my responsibility to follow the law every step of the way. The law tells the director of national intelligence that he must deliver the whistleblower complaint to Congress, and he has refused to do that." The whistleblower's attorney, Andrew Bakaj, wrote a letter to Joseph Maguire saying, "I am providing you formal notice of our intent to contact the Congressional Intelligence Committees directly." That provoked a reply from Jason Klitenik, the general counsel of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. In that letter, he said, we have determined, after consulting with the Department of Justice, that your client's disclosure of the Inspector General to the Inspector General does not fall within the statutory definition of an urgent concern. That means Jason Klitenik has now put in writing that he personally joined in this violation of law with Joseph Maguire. "We have determined," he wrote, "the law does not allow him to determine anything about a whistleblower complaint." The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, then wrote a letter to the whistleblower's lawyer saying, "In light of your notice of intent to the acting director of national intelligence, the committee requests a voluntary interview with your client on Thursday, September 26, 2019, in the afternoon, following the public testimony of acting director Maguire before the committee." Nancy Pelosi has been resisting formalizing the impeachment process until today.
The president must be held accountable. No one is above the law. Getting back to our founders, in the darkest days of the American Revolution, Thomas Paine wrote, "The times have found us. The times found them to fight for and establish our democracy. The times have found us today."
Leading off our discussion tonight are Democratic Congressman Ben Ray Lujan of New Mexico. He is the Assistant Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he is running for Senate in New Mexico. Also joining us, Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger of Virginia. She's a former CIA officer and member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. She and 6 other national security Democrats authored an op-ed in the Washington Post supporting an impeachment inquiry. And Democratic Congresswoman Angie Craig of Minnesota. She came out last night in support of an impeachment inquiry. And Congressman Lujan, let me start with you. You're a member of the leadership. You have been supportive of the impeachment inquiry. What was your reading of the Speaker's decision-making process that got us to here?
Well, Lawrence, good to be with you tonight, number one. Number two, everyone should understand the Speaker always has a plan. The Speaker is someone that can see around the corner and is making sure that we're making strong decisions. But the Speaker's announcement today of moving forward with the impeachment process, of making it abundantly clear that the 6 committees that have jurisdiction and that are conducting investigations are now operating under this umbrella helps us understand the magnitude of this moment.
Abigail Spanberger, let me ask you about some testimony that the president, in effect, gave today to what we now know is an impeachment inquiry. He said this before the impeachment inquiry was formalized, and presidents don't normally testify in impeachment inquiries. But let's listen to what he said today about withholding funding from Ukraine.
As far as withholding funds, those funds were paid. They were fully paid. But my complaint has always been, and I withhold again, and I'll continue to withhold until such time as Europe and other nations contribute to Ukraine, because they're not doing it.
Congressman Spanberger, your reaction to that defense?
Well, in that defense, he both said he didn't withhold and that he would withhold again in the future. It's contradictory. We know that funds were withheld, and this is detrimental to our own national security. These security assistance funds that we provide to other countries are appropriated by Congress, part of larger programs for stabilization efforts, anti-corruption efforts, and our efforts to ensure and provide for our own national security priorities in regions throughout the world. And so the fact that, as the allegations are, the president would use this money, this taxpayer dollars that is meant for security assistance, as leverage to get a foreign government to dig up dirt on an opponent, it is just inconceivable for so many of us here in the House of Representatives.
Representative Spanberger, you have just decided to support impeachment on the basis of this incident. Why was this the final straw for you?
So I have been very clear that these allegations, the notion that the president would ask and pressure a foreign country to provide information, dig up dirt on a political adversary, and to use foreign assistance, military assistance dollars to do it, it is incomprehensible. It is absolutely a violation of the president's oath. And these standalone allegations, as they are drawn up, are, for me, what it is that I'm focused on. I have been clear in stating that if they are true, that they are they represent an impeachable offense. And so for me, I'm looking at these allegations in an isolated manner, frankly, because they are so egregious. They represent a tremendous threat to our national security. And I think that they are allegations that we need to deal with fully. And that was the purpose of our op-ed.
And Representative Angie Craig, like Representative Spanberger, you are from a district that was a Republican district. You flipped it. You both flipped your districts for the Democrats. You are the kind of member of the House, you're both the kinds of members of the House that the impression has been Nancy Pelosi has been protecting you by not letting impeachment be formalized in the House of Representatives, because for representatives in swing districts like yours, that could be politically difficult. You've come out in favor of impeachment also because of this incident. Why was this your final straw?
Well, the Speaker has given us the freedom to do what we think is right for our own congressional districts. And I've been listening to the folks in my district over the last several months. I've wanted to be disciplined. I've wanted to listen to the facts and use due process. But the facts changed on Sunday. The facts are so crystal clear. The president, ironically, is the one who shared them with us. The fact that he pressured a foreign government to interfere with a political rival for the benefit of his own election in 2020, and the fact that those funds to Ukraine were being withheld in advance of that. This isolated incident alone was enough for me to say we have to put this country over our politics, and I hope that many of my Republican colleagues will join me in doing that.
Congressman Lujan, we have reports now that President Trump is going to release a transcript of the phone call, and that the administration will eventually, possibly this week, by the end of the week, release the actual Inspector General's report of the whistleblowers' report. What is your reaction to? We still don't know exactly what these things will look like when they're released, whether they'll be heavily redacted or what these documents are actually going to be when they're released. But that is the developing situation as it is tonight.
Well, Lawrence, it's absolutely essential that the full report that was made available by the whistleblower, as reported from the Inspector General to the Director of National Intelligence, be released to the chairs of the Intelligence Committee. Not only is it essential, it's the law. The law requires for that report to be turned over. So I don't know what the president plans to do with turning over transcripts. I think it's absolutely incumbent that we get word for word everything that we can get our hands on. But what is actually expected, as the law requires, is for the whistleblower's report to be turned over, and that should be turned over no later than Thursday. It should be turned over now.
And Representative Spanberger, there's new reporting in the Washington Post tonight, breaking news reporting about the strains inside the Trump administration, with Rudy Giuliani basically having this portfolio to argue this case, to lobby, to try to influence Ukraine, to investigate Joe Biden's son, and the State Department was upset about this. John Bolton was upset about this, and apparently these tensions are part of what is delivering some of the inside the administration sourcing that the news media is working with.
So the tensions that you mention, I think, are easily definable. They are the tensions that exist between those who are working potentially to uphold the law and those who are looking to abuse their position. The fact that there would be State Department officers uncomfortable with the type of actions that Rudy Giuliani was allegedly taking, I think is absolutely what I would expect of our career diplomats who are focused on the mission of advocating for American interests abroad, protecting American interests abroad, and anyone who's sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution.
And Representative Craig, also in the Washington Post tonight, they are indicating that Rudy Giuliani was off on his own in a way that they were trying to, the way they were trying to figure out what he was doing was actually by reading newspapers and watching TV of Rudy Giuliani's statements about what his involvement in Ukraine might be. They had no way within the administration, apparently, of finding out what it was.
Well, this gets to the heart of the issue with the president, and that is he has put his own personal interest, by nature of putting his personal attorney, in the middle of all of this. And that's exactly why we couldn't stand on the sidelines and allow this behavior to continue by the president and his personal attorney.
Congressman Lujan, the Senate unanimous consent agreement today, I think, was a surprise to everyone that the Senate went on record unanimously saying that the whistleblower complaint should be delivered to the intelligence committees immediately. House of Representatives, there's indications from the leadership that you might vote on something similar tomorrow.
That's correct. We're expecting to vote on something similar tomorrow. But here's the thing as well, Lawrence, is while I appreciate the urgency that Leader McConnell listened to the direction of Leader Schumer to bring that resolution to the Senate floor, and every Republican voted there in favor, as well as every Democrat, the silence of House Democrats is deafening. No one is coming forward to talk about the concern associated with the fact that the law is being broken. The Director of National Intelligence refuses to comply with the law. And I think that's why there is such urgency to bring this resolution forward and to continue to make progress. And I certainly hope my House Republican colleagues have the courage of the Senate Republicans to do what's right and to demand that this report be turned over immediately.
Congressman Ben Ray Lujan, Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, and Congresswoman Angie Craig, thank you all for starting us off tonight. Really appreciate it. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.